Okay, on to the second question. So the second question is still around social media, Kevin. And what it is about, I guess, and I myself have been a little bit overwhelmed or flustered by it as well. When you log on to the social media channels, let's say you own a company page, or even if you're talking to people and you get onto Google, there is always options to pay for advertising on these mediums. And the options seem to be coming up more and more and kind of engaging. And I'm even getting messages on my private message app on Facebook saying, hey, you should pay, you should pay. So the question is, should we pay? And if we should pay for this advertising, what should we pay for? What should we do ourselves? And if we are paying, who do we pay? Like, do we engage a company? What kind of company do we engage? What do? We don't want to go blindly kind of wasting money, because I've seen a lot of guys waste money in this space and just feel burnt and then get turned off completely from this space. So what's the answers around that?
Yeah, big question, Ali, and thanks for asking it. So probably the simplest way to explain or to answer this question is that when social media first arose almost 10 years ago now, we were all given this amazing platform or platforms where we could freely publish and promote ourselves. It had the attention, the businesses, so the Facebooks, the YouTubes, even the MySpaces. Their job was to get everybody on board, was to get users signing up and spending their time on their social media channels. As that's grown, and it's grown so incredibly much now, it's physically impossible for these platforms to show all of the content that is being uploaded every second of the day. And so what's happened now is that if you use Facebook, you'll understand this, and Instagram and so forth. What happens now is, where it's been going for so long that when we go on social media, we're there and we're primarily on it to interact with our friends, our families, and of course the businesses and brands that we follow. However, the business and brand component is somewhat less important when you're on social media, in that the point of it was for that social network. However, the value for businesses and the price and the cost of the investment that's required to be present on social media is so cheap in comparison to any other platform that exists, that it requires, or that investment in the channel now can be so cost effective, and the value you get out of that is phenomenal. So to answer the question, I guess I'm keeping in mind now that there's this massive overload of content going on there. Social media, for instance, Facebook in particular, they recently spoke about an algorithm change, where what they were saying is that they want to make sure that your news feed on Facebook is more relevant and is primarily weighted towards your friends, families, and the people who you socialize with more frequently or engage with more frequently on that channel. So what that means for businesses is that businesses now need to work just that little bit harder to be seen on social media. And what we found is that if you post stuff on social media, on Facebook in particular, you will be limited as to how many people will actually see that content, unless it's incredible content. So what do I mean by that is, so the average video, I put videos up, Ali puts videos up, thousands and thousands, millions of businesses put videos up and content up every day. What will happen is those videos will only go so far, and that's what we call your reach, and that's your organic reach in particular. And what we find now, we're seeing somewhere between 3% and 6% organic reach, which means it's basically 3% to 6% of your entire audience that will see your content when you post something. So it's not a lot. And why that is because now these platforms are saying, well, we've given this really powerful tool for you to use and grow your businesses with. Yellow Pages doesn't really exist anymore. Directories aren't getting used anymore. People can't afford TV anymore. People don't really want to put things on the radio anymore because the attention just isn't there. It does happen, but it's just not as prolific. So now it's what they call a pay-to-play environment, which means, yes, if you want your content to be seen, you need to invest in ensuring your content reaches your audience or reaches the audience that you want to see, who you want to see your content. So how you go about that? Now, I like to keep things pretty simple in that Facebook is a revenue generating model. They have a board, they have shareholders, and these shareholders want returns. And fair enough, you've got this amazing platform, you should pay for your stuff to be seen by the people who you want to be seen by. There are different ways of doing it. So if you have over the years adopted social media and you started growing your following, so let's just say you might have a couple of thousand followers, you might even only have 100 followers or 200 followers, it almost doesn't matter. The point is, if those followers are authentic and you know they are people who are interested in your business, then what I would be doing, and you can do this in-house internally, is that if you want your content to be seen, you can use the boost function to send your content to those people or ensure that they can see your content. So that might cost you $20. It's really simple. You click the button, it says boost now, and you only boost it to your existing audience. That is the only type of advertising that we would ever recommend a business to take on themselves unless you have an in-house social media expert. And the reason I say that is an in-house social media expert is not a 19-year-old who just knows how to use Facebook because he or she spends 80% of their day on Facebook. That is not a social media expert. Just because they're a digital native doesn't mean they know how to activate social media. And what we see is that so many businesses waste a heck of a lot of money, and they come to us because they're spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month, and they're saying, I'm boosting all these posts, or I'm putting these ads up, but I just don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know if I'm getting any results. And the reason that is because they just don't have a strategy behind what they're doing, and they also don't understand the myriad of objectives that you can set when advertising on social media. So to start off, to keep things simple, if you're just starting off and you've got a fair audience and you want to grow that audience, then boost your posts, boost your content to those people. But if you're looking to scale, or you want to set objectives where you want, for instance, people to part with their email address, maybe you want to build an email list, maybe you need to drive people to a landing page, maybe you want them to see your videos. There's so many different objectives out there. That's where it would then be pertinent to say engage an agency, a digital marketing agency, and talk to them about your objectives and as a business what you're looking to achieve, who they can then recommend the best advertising strategies for you to employ and ensure that the money that you're investing has ROI attached to it. So that means you know what your objective is, you know what you're spending, and you understand the returns that you're getting back for that. And those returns, keep in mind, may not just be sales. It might be that you're growing your audience. It might be that you're being seen by so many people. It might be the amount of email addresses you collect. There is a number of objectives you can set that, as well as sales, that attach to that calculation when it comes to ROI. What I would do though, or what I would suggest though, and I talk about it in my book, is when engaging either somebody to do it internally or when you're outsourcing it, there are things that you need to know. And being educated as a business owner and understanding enough to be dangerous and ask the right questions, I believe is what your biggest challenge is. And it's what you should be putting your energy and attention towards at the moment, is educating yourself to know enough about the questions you need to ask so that you can hold whoever you engage, be it internal or external, you need to hold them accountable for what they do. And that's the biggest part of engaging somebody. If you're going to invest your hard-earned money in a channel to grow your channel, you need to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you anticipate to get out of it, and understand what your objectives are. So hopefully that helps share, I guess, the best strategies about
Awesome.
Advertising. So
Thanks very much for that, Kevin, and on to the next question.